Well, hello and welcome to another special video. In this one, I've decided to rank the campaign twists. By now, you know that I've found a way to force them into a kingdom, and I'm linking the video hopefully here and in the corner. But yeah, playing with those is usually pretty fun. They twist the game of Dominion in a way that well, is usually pretty unusual, and I don't know, there are 27 of them, and I thought it might be fun to go through them one by one, discuss what they are about, and to do so, well, you can see here what I've prepared. I've prepared a ranking of the 27 of them, and in addition to that, I always provide a an impact rating and also a fun rating for how much fun it is to play with them. And these roughly correspond also to the ranks, but also some of the mid ranks I wouldn't be super sure about the exact ranking. Also, I will tell you where you can find them in some of the expansion campaigns or in some of the dailies they have appeared. I would say we dive right in and start with the one I like the least, and that one is Cramped. Because Cramped, well, tells you that hands are only four cards instead of five, and that usually makes for super swingy openings. You already bottom deck two cards on the first shuffle, and whether these two cards are estates or coppers can change a lot already. And it usually feels like you don't have that much agency. Like if your favorite treasure that you would, or if the only treasure that's available costs five, it will take ages to get there. If the only treasure costs four and you have the 3/3 or the 3/2, then in your opening, then it will be a whole long shuffle until you even get to hit four anyways, and your opponent might be able to do so earlier than you. So I don't know. It really is not one of my favorite things to play with, but to each their own. I mean, today's daily actually, when I'm recording this, was a kingdom that featured Cramped, but the reason I'm doing this ranking is more that I don't know, I enjoyed ranking them, and I have had set this up already in August, but I didn't get to record it. So let's get to the next one. The next unpleasant one might be Penny Party, saying at the start of your turn you gain a copper. There was one daily where this was featured, and that daily was actually quite fun. You did get to get your deck under control in some fashion. But in kingdoms without any synergies, it makes stuff a lot swingier. You will see a lot of hands with just coppers. But with oops, I misclicked. With stuff with coppers, where coppers can be used in a fun way, like Panic or Enlightenment, the prophecies from Rising Sun. This one can be fun, and it can appear in your grand campaigns. I've faced it there a few times, and as I said, there was this daily. Getting to the next one, I've already spoiled this. I'm sorry. This one is more on the fun side than the other ones I've shown so far, but it's just not super impactful in my opinion. And that one's Turn, 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 a twist that rotates all of the split piles in the beginning of your at the beginning of your turn. And I don't know, sometimes it can also be really frustrating if, for example, if there is encampment plunder on the board, and whenever you try to pick up the plunder, you have only four in hand, and the AI picks up plunders one by one while you don't even have the chance to get them. That might be, yeah, one of the annoying cases, but sometimes it's also fun to kind of set up Star of Turn stuff like Importer comes to mind, or any any card that can gain stuff at the start of your turn. So you can gain something and then rotate, and then you can gain the other card, like also transmogrify. But usually it's also very, very low impact. You don't care about the piles being rotated that much usually. We then have Mirror Loot, another one which I mean, it isn't that impactful usually. It does make for fun games if you have like a stack of figureheads or prize goats, or one memorable one I had was a stack of sextants. But those being inconsistent throughout playthroughs makes it a bit, well, a bit weird, and does change the kingdom quite a lot usually. Whether you, well, if it's a loot that doesn't have plus buy and the kingdom is yearning for plus buy, then you might want to play another variant where you have a different loot. And so I don't know, it's not my favorite, but it's a fun concept already, I think. Next one, Head Start. Now, you might be surprised that this one is so low, but in this one, well, the human gets 2 extra turns at the start, and then the AI gets 10 extra victory tokens. And yeah, I don't know. This one either plays out in a way where you get ahead very fast because there are strong kingdom cards where you can also attack the AI before it even gets to play its first cards, and then you pull ahead a lot, and the 10 points don't matter at all. But also, I've had a like stockpile Black Cat Kingdom that was really unpleasant against the AI, which took a lot of tries to beat, just because those 10 victory points were felt like they were unsurmountable with AI either piling out early with the Black Cats and stockpiles, or you trying to green while the AI had all of those Black Cats in hand, and you got cursed to oblivion. But well, it can also be somewhat fun to have this asymmetry in your game. Next up, we have the incoming twist. And that one plays pretty much like progress, although it's a bit better in the sense that only actions and treasures are top decked and not all of your cards. Progress is one of the prophecies from Rising Sun, if you were wondering. And in my opinion, I don't know, it's fun. You get to get going rather quickly usually, but also it can accelerate opening swinginess. And that, in my book, is already enough of a reason to rank it rather low. Next one, and there are so many twists, and there's also one that's called So Much Stuff. This one, I don't know, is pleasant, but also not super impactful. Actually, I don't know why I ranked this one as such a big of a game changer. That's actually not true. Yeah, it's rarely like an extra card. No, so much stuff. I completely blanked here. I can't read. Maybe I'm going to cut this out. So much stuff. Well, this one is a twist that will gain you non-supply copies of the first cards you play each turn. That means in the beginning, if you want to buy cards, you will need to gain extra coppers. So it's a huge game changer actually. And then, well, initially you do junk yourself, but it can make for really fun things like you can copy disciples or warriors. Well, warriors usually you don't want to play at the beginning of your turn unless you have a champion in play. But I also had a game where I got to get a bunch of humble castles. That was fun. But the reason I don't like it that much is that if you junk yourself early on, then that means that your shuffle early on also is thicker. So it, yeah, might take some time until you see the cards you've just bought, and then it makes it very dependent on whether you find the good cards that you want to play and gain copies of. early on or not. And that's why it's ranked so low. Yeah, this is not the one I was thinking about. The one I was thinking about earlier was Room for More. Um, Room for More says add a kingdom card pile to the supply, and there's not that much to say about this. There are other cards that do this. There's Approaching Army that adds an attack pile, and there is the Young Witch, which adds a Bane pile. So in principle, with this, it's possible to have 13 card kingdoms. Pretty insane. And then if you then put in something like, well, I was about to say put in something like Divine Wind, but that doesn't make any sense because, well, Approaching Army is already a prophecy. But yeah, this one, not too much, but on the other hand, not too exciting. So I put it rather low in this ranking. And next up, we have another game changer one, which is called Typhoon. It comes in like a typhoon and replaces piles at the start of the human's turn. You get to see which piles are replaced in the next turn and and 2 turns ahead. And interestingly, the set and order of the replacement cards is always the same. So if you replay a kingdom, then you already know what's coming and what's and in what order it's coming. So if you know that a village is coming up soon, then you might overterminal yourself. Or if you know that you're going to be starved for plus buy for a while, then you can play with that. But which cards are replaced is random, so that which cards get taken out are yeah are not predetermined, and that can be frustrating if you don't hit the price points for some key cards. For example, if there's Rice as the only plus buy and the AI gets it before it gets blown out by the Typhoon, then you might be in for a bad time. I don't know. It's overall, I like the concept, and it certainly is a huge game changer to the game. Yeah. Next up, we have a twist that gains you favors or gives you favors whenever you gain victory cards. It's not super impactful, like it doesn't really incentivize gaining victory cards that early. It's nice-ish with mill or something like that, like Kingdom victory cards, mill, maybe tunnel or one or two you gain earlier than you would usually do. But later on, it can be pleasant depending on the ally you have. But more pleasant with the allies is a twist called Favored Wealthy. This one is essentially the same as Favored Landlords, but gives you favors whenever you gain treasures. And that's usually nicer if you have if there are nice kingdom treasures you would gain anyways, and you get this nice favor on top. I don't know, I enjoy it. And it is notably not featured even in the Allies campaign. And I've only encountered it once, I think, when playing through a random grand campaign. But there it was fun. Next up, we have a bunch of those that just give you vanilla bonuses at the start of your turn. Shoppers, the plus buy can be pleasant. It can allow you to delay getting plus buy. It's of course nice with cheap stuff, but it's also not insanely impactful. It turns kingdoms into some usually a bit more pleasant versions of themselves. And then we have Sail, which is apparently the one that gets rolled the most with the dailies. And Sail just says cards cost one less. And it's usually pretty pleasant. It can lead to really fast games, especially in combination with other cost reduction. It's nice with cards that gain or play cards that are limited by cost, like Captain or Sculptor come to mind. Can make for really fun and fast things, but sometimes it can also be, I don't know, almost make the game too easy-ish, like too fast. So if you have bad draws early on, then because the game is so fast, then you will be behind even more than you would otherwise be. I don't know. It's I don't know. It's nice. It's already on the 15th spot. Then we have another one that gives these vanilla bonuses. Well, barracks for free essentially. Not super exciting, like not super game warping, but it does have an impact in that you get to overterminal yourself. We then have Beakers. Beakers let you well, allow you to use your potions as a resource. So if you play a potion turn 3, and you only have 2 money with it, and you would like to buy a familiar, whatever, and you can, after playing the potion, it stays as a resource in your inventory, and you can use it up later. And arguably, this is how the potion mechanic should have worked in general already, but yeah, too late for alchemy version 2.0. I don't know. Next up, we have real estate barons, another very interesting one which allows you to use your victory tokens as coffers, and this one can make chariot race even more exciting. This one can make um, how's it called? Triumph loop. Like you triumph after having gained 4 cards, and then the fifth card is the estate. So you get 5 victory points, which you can immediately use as coffers. And this can lead to some surprising endgame oomph. And also really fun with stuff like collection and yeah, many of the things that give you victory tokens. And it makes for very interesting decisions as well. Like, do you spend your victory tokens as coffers in order to get a slight edge on the speed you're building at? Or do you hold on to the victory tokens? I don't know. I like it overall. And yeah, me liking this means that the ones that come up now are even better in my opinion, although I'm not super sure about the ranking of real estate barons or extra oomph. Extra oomph just gives you 1 more coin during your turns. It's conceptually not that far away from sale, I'd say. You have just have this 1 more money, but it doesn't change the cost of cards, and that makes it weaker than sale, not as impactful, but also doesn't speed up the kingdoms just as much. And yeah, I don't know. It makes for just pleasant opening choices. Like you could buy gold on a 5-2. Not that I would advise that, but I don't know. This one is really pleasant, and maybe on the more swingy side is the next one called Fast Track, and this one is another game changer twist. It, yeah, completely warps kingdoms with durations or reserves, and it usually appears in kingdoms with a lot of durations and reserves. And the only reason it's not ranked higher, and maybe I also thought about actually ranking it much lower, is that it can lead to very, very swingy openings. Like if there's transmogrify in the kingdom, if you happen to hit the 4-3, it's just so much better than the 3-4. Like if you have the 4-3, you can buy transmogrify, then turn 2 transmogrify a stage into silver, buy another transmogrify or a good 5 cost duration card, put it in play already, and that makes it, yeah, a bit swingy. So that's the reason why it's not ranked higher. But it's also insane and makes for fun games, so that's why it's ranked so high anyways. Next up, we have a bit delayed, maybe surprising that this one's so far up, but I find it also really pleasant, like being able to delay your boons to the next turn, like you can with Blessed Village already. It makes for rather pleasant gameplay. I don't know. Um, not that much to say. Like if you have the Wind's Gift, especially um, from a gosh, I'm so bad with words right now. From the from the boon giving treasure idol, of course. Sorry. Then yeah, you can just save the Wind's Gift, the Wind's Hex for the next turn, and not have to discard two cards you wouldn't have drawn. So I don't know. I like it. Next up, we have Rebates. This one can go crazy, and this one is can go crazy in a very fun way, in my opinion. It it nets you +1 coin whenever you gain a card. So this means that in openings, usually it's not as impactful as while you do buy a card for 4 money, you only get the money from gaining that card afterwards. So in the openings, it's not as exciting, but then if you have any gainers with like horse gainers or I don't know, even just lucky coin or something like that can give you a bit of an edge in hitting price points. And yeah, with lots of buys and lots of gains, you can do some surprising stuff with pile outs. It's really, really fun. And that means the ones that coming up are only more fun. And one of those is double up. Like double up conceptually isn't that different from so much stuff which we saw earlier, but double up is much better in giving you a pleasant experience overall. It also speeds up the game a lot, which can sometimes be a bit on the swingy side. So some certain openings could be swingy, like if you have a 5-2 and open with a really nice 5, and you get two of them, while your opponent can only open 3-4 and has to arrange with weaker cards, and this opening stuff could snowball a bit. But just gaining an action or treasure each turn that you first gain is really, really fun. I don't know. Next up, we have another not that impactful one, but one that I really enjoyed playing with, which is Forever Favored. And yeah, this one is for sure the best favor giving twist. It accelerates the game in a pleasant way. It's essentially, well, you start out with your starting favor, but already turn 1 you have two favors, and then depending on which ally there is, you get accelerated a bit. It's funny with the gang of pickpockets because you essentially never have to discard and has some, I don't know, just pleasant, pleasant place, goes with a pleasant play style. Next up, we have one that is a citadel that you start out the game with. And that is that the first action you play each turn is played twice. It can make money-ish strategies that just have a smithy and money deck stronger, but also it encourages building engines. Yeah, I've written here nice to have a native village, but the native is not capitalized, so just a village at the start of each of your turns, a throne room. It's quite nice. Then we have another pleasant one, Pennies Saved. At the end of your buy phase, you convert all of your money to coffers, and that also lets you smooth out things and leads to very interesting decisions as to, well, you have 4 money which you could spend right now, but also next turn you have a buy and a merchant guild, and then you just save your money and have a more explosive next turn. And it is also really nice with money-ish strategies, notably. And one of the things that's not so fun about it is that because due to the way it's implemented, currently it can lead to game crashes. I suspect this will be fixed in the next patch, but yeah, sometimes it can crash your game and then you might be sad. But in the video yesterday that I published there, I showed you how to fix your crashed campaign game state if you so want to. Anyways, next up, we're coming to the top three. And the top three, I don't know how well you know your twists, but they contain two things that have to do with trashing. And the first one, I could have also put it at like the top three are really. I'm pretty sure that they should be the top three, but I'm not sure in which order I had should put them. But one of them that's really fun is Landfill. When you trash one of your cards, you get +1 card. It makes trashers a lot stronger. It makes trashers a lot more fun, and I don't know. It just very pleasant. Play with this if you can. Then we have Garbage Heap. It's not. Yeah, maybe I should have put this one on the third and it exchanged it with Landfill. But Garbage Heap just says at the start of your turn you may trash a card from your hand, and that leads to fast games, but in a more balanced way than other twists do. Like uh, because you do trash out your starting deck, you get going pretty quickly, but also your opponent does, so it's not that much of a swingy advantage. Now, drum roll for the last twist. It's kind of the antithesis of the cramped twist on the 27th rank, so you might already know which one that is. That's Big Ideas, which is very simple. It just says at the start of your turn +1 card. And yeah, I don't know, it accelerates games as well, but it provides nice reliability. It enables you to play some strategies that would otherwise probably be too unreliable or be too much crippled by opponents' attacks. And yeah, I don't know. Probably deserved first place, but also I could see Landfill on the first place, or yeah. It's like, and as I said, it's not super clear to me that like the one-to-one ranking between two twists each, but overall, I think you get the trends. And with that, I would like to thank you for watching and hope you had a fun time watching this video and are now inspired to play some of the campaigns to experience how these twists play out. I've played a lot of grand campaigns where they popped up, so I felt qualified to give my opinion, but also share your opinion if it differs from mine. I'm happy to talk about this stuff. And with that, I will end this video and try to catch you in the next one. Goodbye.